Today we're going to talk about a paint that you might not have heard of, but you might want to know about. It's called Centurion, and I got it from a good friend of mine, Mark Cole, who has a paint store. It's the best independent paint store I've ever been into. It's the best paint store I've been in, period. He carries so many products. If you're ever in the Annapolis area and you want to go to Maryland Paint and Decorating and check out their array of stuff. They have Festools, they have Holland Lac, they got Pittsburgh paint. He probably carries 15 different brands of paint. He carries wallpaper. It's a big store, and it's worth going into if you're in the Annapolis area. So I went in there, and I've known Mark for decades, back since 1989, and he was telling me, you got to try this Centurion. I got the Centurion primer, and then they have a top coat. The Centurion primer is definitely a different type of product. It settles quickly in the sense that you're going to have it shaken vigorously at the store before you take it back. I opened this can up about 6 weeks after I bought it, and it was a thick paste at the bottom like that, and I stirred it, and I could break it up into little pieces, but I ended up needing to get a paddle and a drill to really finish it up and get it, to the consistency that it should be. It is a 2-coat primer. Now, Mark, before I get into that, Mark at the paint store said that a lot of guys are using this Centurion primer for woodwork on new construction because it leaves the finish so well. But it is a 2-coat primer in a sense. If it's going to need 2 coats if tannins are bleeding through. I sprayed this on oak, and after the first pass of primer, the first coat, a lot of tannins came through. It needed a second coat. Once the second coat was applied, the tannins completely disappeared. But that's 2 passes of 2 coats of Centurion, this is not a cheap product. I don't know what it costs, but it's not cheap. And I'll find out what it is and post it on there. He gave it to me, but it left after 2 coats, and of course you hope so. The results was fantastic. It sands very easily, and then I was able to put the Centurion top coat on, and this stuff was amazing. Both the primer and the top coat dry quickly, maybe 20 minutes to the touch, but I waited an hour in between coats. The results from spraying were fantastic. It felt like there was 6 coats of paint on there when I sprayed. It was smooth as glass. And this is over oak, which isn't this, it's kind of a grainy wood. It's not like a maple or a cherry where that's a much smoother wood. It just was a fantastic finish. On this side, I brushed it. And I brushed 2 primer coats and 2 top coats, and it looks good. It looks great. It's super smooth, very, very, very hard to see any brush strokes in there because it levels out really well. Is it super smooth? Yes, it is. Is it as smooth as the side that I sprayed? Not quite. The side that I sprayed feels a little bit better, but they both feel absolutely fantastic. So I fell in love with this paint. One of the tests, though, that I do with cabinet paints is I put an oil on it. And in this case, I put olive oil on here. Let it sit, the olive oil sit on there, wiped it on with a rag, let it sit for 6 weeks, and then I try to scratch it off. Didn't scratch off at all. With some cabinet grade paints, the oil penetrates through the top layer and breaks the adhesion either between the primer and the top coat, or the actual previous goes through the primer and scratches down the bare wood. Definitely don't want that because we warranty our cabinets for 5 years. But I needed to also do the stain test where I put ketchup, mustard, red wine, pencil, crayon, and coffee on it, let that dry 24 hours, come back and clean it and see what happens. And I was really hoping and really optimistic that since the olive oil didn't affect the adhesion, that these products that I put on there wouldn't affect it, but they did. In fact, this is what it looks like, and you can see this coffee, that's red wine, mustard right here. Mustard almost still very visible, but not as bad. A little bit of ketchup in the middle. Everything ended up, the stains all kind of got absorbed into the paint, it looks like, except for the pencil and the crayon, very much superficial. They cleaned off right away, they disappeared, but not the liquid stains. Ideally, I think this paint would probably be best suited for built-ins, bookcases, those hallway locker storage compartments that people are building and putting in. It'd be fantastic for that, even furniture. Would I put it on kitchen cabinets? I would, because I like the look of it so much. But what I would do is I would put a clear coat over the areas that are prone to get some food spilled on it from time to time, like around the kitchen sink, or maybe if you have a trash can drawer, do that one as well. Thanks so much for watching. You don't need to subscribe. You don't need to leave a comment unless you want to. Appreciate your time. Take care.